GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.
Hello and welcome to Galata Plus. In this video review episode, we are going to be talking about Vineet Srinivasan's Varshangalkku Shesham. The film is a middling, unfocused bromance that also wants to be a meta commentary on the film industry. Now, at its most basic level, Varshangalkku Shesham is a story about two friends, what we'd call today a bromance. One that starts in the 1970s and ends in the present day. Dhyan Srinivasan plays Venu, who is a writer. Pranav Mohanlal plays Murali, who is a musician and also a grade A drunkard. The way writer-director Vineet Srinivasan kickstarts the relationship between these two people, that is Murali and Venu, it's lovely. It involves Venu being weak in history and being scared of his bodybuilder father. It involves Paruppu Vada and the newspaper this dish is wrapped in. It involves a drama troupe with a problem. The stream of consciousness way in these various events are stitched together makes it look like one big stroke of the universe making something happen when you wish hard enough. And once Murali and Venu, note that both are Sanskrit names for the flute or Lord Krishna. The minute these two guys get together, there is no stopping them, at least for a while. The opening scenes are really thought through, and that stream of consciousness feel continues to be felt. The way Murali discovers what a good writer Venu is involves Victor Hugo of all people. The way Venu realizes how good Murali is with music involves a play. Murali makes the background score for a stage play, expertly guessing where the music is needed, what kind of music is needed, that is harmonium or violin, and when the audience will react. Both of them are ready for the movies. One will write and direct, the other will make music, and off they go to Kodambakam like the composer M.S. Baburaj, whose name and whose songs they invoke like a lucky charm, like a mantra. At this point, it appears that we are in for a lighter, broader version of Iruvar, which featured Pranav's father. But slowly, ego begins to rear its head, success goes to one friend's head and makes him look down on the other friend. In a romance, we'd wonder if the couple will cross these hurdles and get together. In this bromance, we wait for the rift between these friends to mend. The results are mixed. There are many likable characters, like the producer played by Aju Varghese with his hilarious cut and jar joke. There is also the assistant director played by Basil Joseph, and he gets an equally hilarious bit, a curt treatment of a big star. There are many laughs, and the two actors at the center, Dhyan and Pranav, sell their characters solidly, if not exceptionally. Vineet has always had an excellent ear for music, and here he gets some great tunes, lush and melodic numbers from Amrit Ramnath, who is Bombay Jaishi's son. The recurring song Nyabagam is about remembrance and forgiveness with a line that goes thus: Oru murai en pirai marande nee vandide. So if you just want a casual entertainer, Varshangalkku Shesham gets the job done. But if, like me, you take Vineet Srinivasan as more than just a feel-good filmmaker, if you think of him as a true artist with a true voice, then the film falls short. The problem with Varshangalkku Shesham is twofold. One, Vineet is very good with tight premises. The Hindu-Muslim romance in Tattathin Mariyathu, the love triangle in Hridayam, the father-son relationship in Jekapette Swargarajam, just to name a few films that he has directed. His style is to go close to the dark side and pull back just in time so that things don't get too dark. And these familiar premises can take this treatment because the feel-good moments that make us laugh and that make us tear up, they don't feel out of place. We are not exactly looking for realism here. The treatment matters more than the theme, the subject. But this approach becomes trickier in films like Tira and now this new movie. Subjects like human trafficking or a musical genius who is an alcoholic, these require a level of deep digging that Vineet isn't willing to get into. Remember that superbly psycho moment in Hridayam involving a spurned lover, an ironing board and a wedding dress? That is the zone this film needed to be in. The second problem is an extension of what I just mentioned. Vineet is fantastic at writing for a small number of characters stuck in a relatively urban milieu. But Varshangalkku Shesham has to deal not only with the period setting of 1970s Madras, but also host of characters in the past and in the present, and somewhere the focus is lost. I kept thinking of what this film might have been had it not tried to give a meta commentary about the movie industry and had it just stuck to the bromance between Venu and Murali. Now, some of this meta commentary is certainly funny, especially when a very aware and very amusing Nivin Pauly turns up as an actor modeled after the real life Nivin Pauly. He rants against nepotism in a film starring the sons of Srinivasan and Mohanlal and the daughter of Priyadarshan and Lissy, and a film that's directed by another of Srinivasan's sons, and this other son also doubles as an actor in a sweet small part. But take the character Annie, played by Kalyani Priyadarshan. She promises to become a love interest. She doesn't. That is not the issue. This film is, after all, less a romance than a bromance. But the issue with Annie is that she's given too big a backstory for this kind of movie, and this backstory is resolved too easily. The way Annie goes in and out of the screenplay, the way Murali comes and goes as he pleases, sometimes without any apparent logic other than to create a conflict point, the way these characters' threads are left flapping. These result in a movie that is more about Venu and less about Venu and Murali together, and that imbalance hurts. The film remains a loose collection of moments that do not cohere satisfyingly. The supposed struggles felt by the characters don't come across strongly, especially with Murali. He says he wants to be away from the high-pressure film industry. He says he wants to compose ghazals, and with his constant wardrobe of kurtas, he does look the type. But when a song of his becomes a hit, he wants to be known as a composer. He wants to own the moment, and when this doesn't happen, he vanishes. This arc, which includes his return as a composer and another instance of vanishing, deserved far more depth and darkness than the screenplay is willing to give this character. At other points, we get a producer who instantly agrees to a live recording in this day and age, and just as magically, another producer who lands up when the first one makes an exit. This is not about whether all this is possible. It's about whether it is plausible, whether it is convincing on screen, and it isn't. There is one narrative thread about an enigmatic genius and the search for him, something like, let's say, Citizen Kane. There is another thread about friends and egos and the difficulty of rekindling a friendship after decades. Here, that difficulty is not felt at all. There is a third spoof satire thread about the functioning of the film industry, something like Udayananutharam, which featured Mohanlal and Srinivasan. There's a fourth thread about an old generation director trying to make a movie in the era of Shyam Pushkaran and Dilesh Potan, who are mentioned in this movie. This itself would make an entire film. In the end, Varshangalkku Shesham bites off far more than it can chew. Everything from the recovery from sexual abuse to the relaunching of a career seems too simple, too easy. I use the word seems because on screen, the writing is diligent enough to put up and explain these struggles, but these struggles don't leap off the screen and touch the heart. The comedy lands, the emotion doesn't. Varshangalkku Shesham, in the end, is a missed opportunity. And that's it about Varshangalkku Shesham. If you like this video review, do subscribe to Galata Plus and see you soon at the movies.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.